to the Nerdiverse. Go ahead, sit and listen to the masters, the old heads, talk about what you love the most. Video games, comics, movies, and everything you need to maintain. We got the knowledge that's straight out the ether. Gonna need a drink and have to take a seat to expand your mind and listen to the speaker. Mike and the squad's gonna give you what you need. Please send in a question, come and get some answers, learn a couple lessons from the masters with the special guests. We got the Green Lanterns glowing on their chest. Yes, please sit back and relax, cause we're gonna hit you with them stone cold facts and allow me to be the very first to welcome you to the masters of the Nerdiverse. Welcome to Masters of the Nerdiverse. This is the Masters of the Nerdiverse podcast, where we always have such sights to show you. This Chuck E. Cheese of a podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. I'm, of course, your host, Mike G. And my also host with the most is Winter Trash Monk the Thizzard.
What's up, everybody? This is Winter. That is Winter Trash Monk. That's Trash Monk the Third. That's Trash Monk I. That's Trash Monk I. And I'm coming at you in my room, looking at my clean room. Actually, I cleaned it this Sunday. Don't need to brag. Hey. And fun fact, I used Zoom conference the first time this Sunday.
How'd it work?
Very good. Nothing much to it. Definitely not going to pay for that service, but you know, it is what it is.
As a premium service, Zoom can definitely sponsor this podcast. Wink. You know.
Yeah.
You got to do the SNL Will Ferrell wink where he's doing the still life, and he has a weird beard and long hair, and he's doing like nude still life. And he was like Da Vinci called this one the thinker, but I call this one the stinker. It's super stupid.
Yeah. That's something.
Good times.
Is it?
That's how unfortunate. Oh man. Dude. So I was thinking about Chuck E. Cheese longer than any adult probably should think about just the structural integrity of a Chuck E. Cheese. And I want to ask Winter, I know that, you know, you don't necessarily live in quote unquote the big city, right? Yeah. Have you ever encountered a Chuck E. Cheese, my man?
What was that?
Have you ever been to a Chuck E. Cheese, dude? Or something alike to it?
Have I ever been to a Chuck E. Cheese? Yes, once. 6th grade? 6th or 7th grade, I believe.
Yeah, man. Chuck E. Cheese's are kind of weird if you think about it for more than 5 minutes.
Why are they weird?
Because the Chuck E. Cheese creates an illusion of happiness where it's really more like a gross morose kind of
morose
around the whole place.
Yeah,
it's a gross morose.
Get out of here.
I'm just saying,
Ice Cube, like, we gotta do gross morose.
Bars.
Gross morose.
I'm just saying, like,
the toast.
Gross morose, the coast, the toast, the most. Oh man, verbose. No, but like, if like you walk into a Chuck E. Cheese, man, and like, at least back in the day, when you're like 6th, 4th, 5th grade, it's this magical place that's this happy medium between Sizzler and like Disneyland. You know what I mean?
Sizzler and Disney,
or like a restaurant. Yeah, it's this weird balance where I'm a kid and I'm gonna get pizza and I'm gonna play games for tickets.
Yeah, and
then I'm gonna see an animatronic show just for me. But you think now that we're adults, in retrospect, as an adult, it's probably a very weird place to be.
I don't know. You know what they I mean? Have like Dave and Buster's, ladies and gentlemen.
I know that. David Buster's is a very smart business idea because it's just Chuck E. Cheese for adults who want to get drunk, you know what I mean, and have a good time and play. It's a barcade, technically.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Dave and Buster's don't have animatronic dancers or anything weird like that to entice you into fun. That would be weird. Can you imagine if Dave and Buster's had like animatronic Led Zeppelin and it was just like are like animatronic like Rolling Stones, and it's like this Madame Tussauds versions of the Rolling Stones,
Right.
and they're gyrating and singing, she's I'm so hot for you, but she's so cold. But it's like their jaws are animatronically moving and they're not blinking.
Yeah. Well, that's actually what the Rolling Stones wanted done to them, according to their will, when they all die, um,
I
to
can't wait.
be strapped up as like marionette dolls and go on tour to all Dave and Buster's.
But it has to be their corpses, though. It can't be
Yes.
metal.
Just
It has to be
play.
their decaying
Yeah.
corpses.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It is very strange, but it's also that whole thing that children's shows already have a weird strangeness to it. Like there's a spectrum in those shows where both children and massive drug users can both share enjoyment out of their,
Enjoyment.
like for instance Adventure Time, SpongeBob, Cat Dog, all those type of shows.
It just made me think about further, like
Adventures of
when
Flapjack
in
or whatever.
art into the Adventures of Flapjack, right? Rick and Morty for that, even though Rick and Morty's more towards adults.
I mean, this channel that they're on is Adult Swim.
Right, literally.
Yeah,
right?
but you see some kids
makes me think of really
the deep end.
Some of them learned how to swim. That's the problem. Their parents taught them how to adult swim. Geez. But it makes me think about like even older shows where they had creatures as fun time things, like HR, like Sesame Street and HR Huff and Stuff, and like people in suits to entertain children. Like, where did that come from? Like, I don't get like how that appeal was birthed.
Okay. Keep talking about that.
That's crazy.
I'm going to look up a link for our audience because there is an hour and a half long documentary that talks about this that I watched halfway through.
I would love that link because I think that's fascinating. Like certain marketing ideas, like how did this happen? Like,
the documentary draws a link to furries, so it's it goes all the way to like they had a certain term for it, but it's essentially going to how in cartoons you have animals behaving as humans, and it then stretches to like in the real world humans wanting to personify this character or something like that. Yeah, so I would check.
That makes sense because
it's if you just look up furries down the rabbit hole, and it's by Frederick Knudsen, and it's he does a whole series called Down the Rabbit Hole, and this is 44 minutes long, and I'm like a third of the way through.
I'm gonna have to check that out because I think it's really fascinating, like just how 1 + 1 = 2, and then 2 turns into 2 billion, and it's like, where did this come from? Man?
So while Mike G is watching anime and getting to know more about the news, I'm watching these deep YouTube videos about furries and Rainforest 2015.
Dude, at least you're not watching Marble Hornets in the Oranges of Slender Man.
Right.
Don't if you want to just conserve lifetime in regards to like as humans we only have so many days and minutes and seconds in our lives. Don't fall down the Marble Hornets hole because it's so many hours long and it's nothing.
Right.
It's empty carbs, dude. Don't do it. Oh man, that's fun. Well, while we're both trolling YouTube, did you do anything else this week, Winter?
What was that? I'm sorry.
No worries. How was your week? How'd your week
My
go?
week was interesting. Can't get into too much about it in the podcast, but I got a lot of most pretty much the events of the weekend made me stay at home, contemplate life, and I worked on both the audio drama script I submitted to some folks that should be worked on during the summer, and started working on part 3 of one of the things that we're doing for MOTN. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah, wink, wink, wink. All the eyes winking, even the third eye. That's the
Yeah,
wisdom
but my
eye.
third eye is blind.
Ooh, that's only for 10
Yeah,
people listening.
those who do live a semi
Maybe
charmed
15.
life. Dang, I messed up.
Yeah, they lived a sweet
Mhm.
life, man. Ooh, I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. I like it. I like it.
So, what did you do this week?
Ooh. My week is ever thought about like the reason why like beans can be refried? You know what I mean? Like you have beans, then you fry them, and then you refry the beans, right? It goes to a second kind of like double battering tempura,
Mm-hmm.
it may seem unnecessary, but it actually increases the flavor, right? Well, I've been under the weather almost since the beginning of 2019, and I refried beans myself into more under the weather. So I've been literally just a human zombie for the past week. Like
Well, that's cool.
I can't shake it. Yeah, I've been undead. Like I cut off my finger, it grew back. It's kind of dope. Uh, it was just I was like, oh, that's interesting. Start feeling a tingle. Finger grew back. So I've been fighting whatever is going on with me. So fingers crossed that by my birthday I'll be 100%. Other than that, I've just been laid up, watched a couple of movies, watched we talked about the Fire Festival last week, so I thought I was able to watch the Hulu version
Yeah.
of it to get the other side of the story, and just that whole catastrophe is just so fascinating.
Again, recommending the
Uh,
Internet Historian YouTube video that talks about that festival.
it's if you like, I'm telling you, if you're within the sound of my voice and you just want to see a complete S show, like something that is absolute foobar, from the word jump, you have to indulge yourself with anything Fire Festival related, including the YouTube content that Winter has just blessed us with. It is deliciously horrible. I can't recommend it
Like,
enough.
it's going to be like a comedy of errors released in the near future. Like how The Room
Like
got its own movie about its production. So will this. Yeah.
right, like 50 years from now, marketing classes at like Stanford and Harvard will be using this as a case
What not
study
to do.
on how not to market. Right.
That's
This
nice.
is going to be forever. It's that bad. Man. But other than that, speaking of zombies, I've had a bit of time to sink my teeth. Oh man, dad jokes. Into the Resident Evil 2 remake on the PS4. And I know it's becoming like a broken record that, oh, Mike only talks about games he likes and stuff like that. I'm like, of course. Why would I talk about games I don't like? Don't want to be a negative Nancy or a negative Nelson. Talk about things I like. If it's a bad game, I'm not going to give it hyper praise unless we're doing an actual show about it. Go listen to our top 10 best and worst games of 2018. Plug! But Resident Evil 2 Remake, inside of its own white box or its own section of me not being a Resident Evil fan, of me playing the original game, it's on its own is a superb outing from Capcom, and this is 3 in a row for me for them,
Right.
and it's getting kind of scary. It's like, okay, Monster Hunter World was my favorite game of the year of last year. And I forget the third. The third game escapes me as I'm talking about it. Dang my brain. But Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of the most like love letters to a genre. I hate to use hyperbole, but I've ever played. A lot of things are different. There's no fixed camera. There's no tank controls. Thank the Lord. But somehow they've managed to make it feel like there is. It's over the shoulder action. You're going down corridors, and it just feels like you're playing Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation 2. It just feels that way. It's just the weirdest thing in the world, because I was playing Leon Campaign A, And the fun thing about this game is there's multiple different ways you can play with multiple different characters and multiple different situations. So the replayability is out of this world. Graphically, it is immaculate. This is one of the prettiest games you're going to be able to play. If you're a horror fan, this is the game you show your friends. They say, hey, I have a PS4 on it, 4K TV. You want to see some cool stuff blow up? You want to see a zombie's brain split open like an apple? And you get to see all the fun little attention to detail. Yeah, you play Resident Evil 2. The combat is scary because, and this is for our video game heads out there, the zombies' health is based on RNG. That what pretty much means, in layman's terms, is that there isn't a set amount of bullets you can pump into a zombie that you will know will kill it. So sometimes it'll be one shot, sometimes it'll be 15 shots. And this is survival horror, so the ammo is scarce. You're constantly feeling like, I'm down to my last bullet, I'm down to my last health item. I have to skirt around these zombies, which are smart and are tough. And it's just an astounding piece of work. I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah. It's very interesting because how many they've been calling it like a remastered, but it's not. A remaster is pretty much like a scrubbing of the game. This is more of like you're disassembling the game and then bringing it back together with new parts. Like the best way I can describe it is like a remaster would be a kind of like if you're going to take a painting and then what is it? Well, okay. The way that Resident Evil 2 the remastered is like there is an old painting and you get a guy out there who is like, well, I'm only going to use the brushes that were specifically used in the 1700s that made that to work. And I'm going to restore it and to make it look good for today.
Restore it.
Yeah. So it's a restoration sort of thing. But also it adds a whole other playing field, right? With like you have another, I don't know. It's like, yeah, go on.
Yeah, no worries. And you're absolutely right. There's differences between a remaster and a remake. Like the best examples, I'm gonna use two very good games. One is what's it called? Shadow of the Colossus.
Episode 1 Phantom Menace for PlayStation 1.
Episode 1 for PlayStation 1. Man, I beat that game 50 times. So you have a game like no shade. You have Shadow of the Colossus remaster, and let's say Resident Evil 2. They're just calling it Resident Evil 2 now. They're not even calling it remake anymore. Like you were mentioning earlier, Shadow of the Colossus was a restoration of an older game. It's a artist recreating the Mona Lisa exactly as Mona Lisa was created, right? Of higher textures, prettier graphics, better sound, all in all, an enhanced experience, right?
So, with that knowledge, can that style, like, can that form of art, that restoration, that form of taking old art and bumping it up a bit to make it look brand new today, can that fit into any other field of like nerdiness? For instance, what comes to mind was the attempt for the Psycho shot by shot remake that bombed. And like imagine,
there's something to
and
that.
You know how many people give bands a bunch of crap for they were good in that first album, but then they just repeated it again for the second one. But it seems like we keep cutting each other off
because we're so excited. That's fine.
I'm trying to get to the news, but this was a juicy bit.
I just want to talk about it just a little bit more. Yes. So it's like Weezer just recently came out with a cover album, right? Called Teal, right? And I was excited. I was like, "Oh, Weezer's gonna be covering some good songs, right?" But unfortunately, they just all come off as karaoke to me, right? They're not doing any kind of artistic flair to the songs that they're covering. It's
Yeah.
just, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of by the
With
numbers,
Weezer,
right?
okay. Funny you bring that because I was talking about last week with some coworkers, and the best way I could put it is that I hate how in commercials we have named actors now taking jobs away from actors who are
Commercial
lower
actors.
tier. Not saying that they're bad, but saying
Yeah.
that actors are finding out that, oh, I can make like $5,000 every time this airs. Okay, I'll do that. That's how you get Alec Baldwin doing Capital One. Now,
Yeah.
Weezer in the music world taking money away from the low cover bands and going, why don't we just do covers? Even though
Yeah.
there's musicians that go, I'll never play a cover in my life. And it's like, just wait wait until they shove about like $10,000 in your face to cover Africa or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that's what kind of sucks about it. And for that conversation. But I'll end my Resident Evil 2 kind of experience with this one analogy. The differences between Resident Evil 2 and that was made in, back in the day and Resident Evil now is kind of like the difference between Dracula with Bela Lugosi, black and white, and Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula with, let's say, what's the actor? Gary Oldman. It's the same story. It's the same characters. It's pretty much the same layout. But functionally, they're very different movies.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a remaster. It is taking the idea and the core feeling of the game and restructuring it from the bottom all the way up. And you can feel the love that they put into remaking the game.
Love tonight.
Don't get me started on Elton John. I love me some Elton, dog. What do you know about Candle in the Wind, dog? I hated Goodbye England's Rose, though. All respect to
is that the one that goes Goodbye England Rose? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You just mixed Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Candle in the Wind. I kind of want to punch you right now.
I am a madman.
Don't ever do that.
Across the
Don't
river.
ever do that again. Man. Yeah.
I'm the madman across the water, ladies and gentlemen.
I am legit shook right now.
Yeah.
Man.
So now that you're successfully shook, we can now do our millennial take on the news.
Because we're millennials, and
I'll let you slide into the millennial bracket.
The news. Okay, millennial news. Talking about Resident Evil. Apparently, Resident Evil is getting the Netflix treatment, not as a movie but as a series.
Ooh.
Which I prefer to it being a movie.
Yes.
So certain intellectual properties work better as a movie, and certain intellectual properties work better in more smaller digestible chunks as a TV series.
And let's not go the route of the movies here, people. We have the movies. We don't need to go back to those. We don't need to have a Russian woman running around killing zombies. Okay. Yeah, we need like some grittiness to it. So, like if Walking Dead could be on HBO. So yeah, coming to Netflix is good. A scripted series. I'm hoping that they will put some more money into this. I read somewhere that Netflix is making a ridiculous amount of content this year for their channel, and like that now when they say they're making it, that doesn't necessarily mean that Netflix is on the ground doing it. That means that they're picking it up and putting it on their service. And it's also interesting to consider, like, how do we know something is doing better than others? Because Netflix themselves release their own numbers about, oh, this was the number one movie for the last 5 weeks. Well, who told you that? We did. Okay. Oh. Okay. It's like it's similar to cigarette companies going, "Oh, cigarettes aren't bad for you according to cigarette health for us." You know, you get what I'm trying to say, folks. Are you done over there, Michael?
Yes, I am. I kind of stubbed my infinite toe, but I'm okay. We shall persevere. Absolutely. So yeah, I kind of hope they stick with the storyline of the games, make it more faithful, and kind of start from the beginning. Start at Resident Evil, and just every season should be a game. Honestly,
that'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Like expound on Resident Evil from 0 all the way to the end of Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
You know,
so
season 2, Resident Evil 2.
Okay, so this is funny that you bring this up because I have a question for you that might be triggering for some of our people, but here we go. Here's a classic Winter pulling out some trash. Do you think a game like Resident Evil 5 could survive today? And let me remind you what Resident Evil 5 was. It is a pale man going into an African village infected folk and shooting them because they were attacking him.
Resident Evil 5.
Now, I love Resident Evil. I have like big memories of
it's a good game. It's a good game.
When is this going to end? I just shot a rocket launcher at it. Like, it keeps going.
Right. Resident Evil 5 storyline, though not the best, because man, that had some controversy when it first came out.
And then Bing Crosby comes out at the end in a certain paint, and he does a little song and dance.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Bing Crosby probably did have the T virus. That's how he survived for so long. That's a
little joke for our film majors out there. There you go.
You know, if you fill an orange full of, I'm not going to
make that joke.
Again.
We don't want any association with the color orange in here. All right, we don't need to. We don't need to bring that heat.
Orange clashes with my eye color actually, but Resident Evil 6 is the worst Resident Evil game, like numbered one. I don't count like Code Veronica or Raccoon City or any of those, but if they could just do 3 seasons of Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, I would be super happy with that. That's it. That would be a lot of content. Let's say 10, 15 episodes a season, and just cast the right people and just stick with the story, then we'll all be fine.
Who would you cast as who would you have in the show?
Oh, on the spot. First season will definitely have to be the original squad from 1. It would have to be Jill Valentine, it would have to be Carlos, it would have to be Wesker. All those people would have to be in the mansion.
Right.
So
in the Oscar from The Office?
The second did I say Oscar? Dang it. I meant Carlos. Carlos Alvarez. I can't, his last name I'm having a hard time pronouncing. But then season 2 kicks in. We have Resident Evil 2 where you can get Claire Redfield and you can get Leon Kennedy and you can get the Mr. X and Lickers and all that cool Resident Evil 2 stuff. And then you can get Nemesis in your final season. That's money right there, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good bit.
Pro tip to directors and anyone with money who are in a position to produce content based on an existing license, don't ad-lib anything. Fans hate it. just like we were talking about
magic
earlier.
To the series. Like, those dumb kids like magic in their shows.
Make it about Hogwarts. Yeah. Set Resident Evil in Hogwarts. But I'm just saying, like, don't add new characters and change all the lore around. Just do your own thing, but just keep it. I hate that. We don't need another Alice.
We have to be careful now about the character adding because there is a successful show that does that. Not only add characters, but combine them and that is Game of
Well,
Thrones.
I can't speak for Game of Thrones because I've never seen one full episode all the way through. I can't comment either way.
Well, that's because okay.
I know, right? 911.
What's your emergency?
Yeah, right. I've just witnessed a murder. But yeah, I can't comment on Game of Thrones either way because I don't want to get punched out for talking out the side of my lip. But shame. I do know shame though. Shame. But
well, no, I mean shame. Not what you're talking about. I'm talking about the TV show where they have a scene from Shame. I mean, if you deal with shame on your own,
I was thinking about the lady in Game of Thrones that goes shame.
Folks, I had to work for that joke. I had to work,
and
for
I
that
totally
joke.
sandbagged it. I'm sorry. This is the way of the Nerdiverse.
Yeah, we should move on.
Speaking of things that are going to get sandbagged, the RZA and Ghostface Killah of the Wu-Tang Clan are teaming up to make a horror movie.
Oh boy!
Oh boy! Where do I start with this?
Well, let's look at RZA's track record with films, shall we?
Go for it. You got a list? You got it up and running?
I believe he directed, if not had a big hand or a golden fist in Man with a Golden Fist.
Chihuahua. I did like Ghost Dog though, but he didn't
which I dug it. I mean, I liked the weirdness of it.
All I care about with this is that there's a chance we're going to get a new Wu-Tang album that's horror based. That's all I care about.
Yeah, he was the lead actor, director, and co-writer for The Man with the Iron Fist.
He got Bautista to be in it. Bautista. This is before Guardians of the Galaxy.
He got Russell Crowe in it too.
Russell Crowe to be in his movie. He called in favors. Like, I love the Wu-Tang Clan. Don't get me wrong. I had an unhealthy fixation with the Wu-Tang Clan as a kid. I could probably recite all 10 minutes of Triumph right now if you asked me to. I'm not going to. That's podcast murder. But I just want a new super awesome Wu-Tang album to come from whatever this probably horrible horror movie is going to be.
Well, what you need to do is become a stockbroker.
Just put stock in that album.
Now, I believe there's like some weird story of a stockbroker dude or some Wall Street dude who spent money. Did you hear about that?
That's the worst thing to happen to the Wu-Tang Clan.
Well, okay, that's not a controversial take.
I hate that guy's. I mean, the Earth hates him, and that's why he's disappeared from all like media.
Well, because
he's in jail too. Because the guy is a freaking rat fink. Oh, you're gonna make me curse, dude.
Yeah. And he also sent out a death threat or like try to get people to pluck Hillary Clinton's hair. They don't like that.
Quote unquote, they don't like that.
Yeah. Is that going to be the title of this episode? They don't like
between that and Bing Crosby has the T virus, some kind of fighting between those two.
Folks, this is all free to you. All this
we don't charge anything for this podcast. Funny enough, not yet anyway. Maybe next year. But
yes, and I feel like I should have told you this before we started recording, but I do have a story to tell that if you want to skip one of your stories,
you know what, we got a skippable story. So jump in there. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, so there's some recent podcasting news that is kind of connected to the Nerdiverse. Just that I think podcast is the satellite radio of the Nerdiverse, folks. Whatever that means. So there's a big podcast called Your Mom's House. Have you ever heard of this podcast? No. Well, it's two comedians. I only know the guy's name. Apologies. It's Tom Segura and his wife, I believe, or girlfriend, and they record. And it's blown up in recent years to the point that they were sponsored by McDonald's.
Wow.
And yeah, like they had the McDonald's colors in their background. And then when they had like video clips of their show, they had McDonald's food placed all over the place. Okay. You know, just to make people go, you know what? I want some McDonald's now.
I want McDonald's.
Yes. So and this was a big sponsorship. Like you're
Probably a
talking,
lot of money was being thrown around, right?
like I've heard the number 1 million thrown out. I've heard the number 2.5 million, 2.8
That's our
million.
future, man. We just got to
Okay.
sell out real hard.
Well, this is also in our future. What happens
geez.
next? So I believe a week or a week and a half ago, they just episode 249 or whatever of their show, 240, whatever. The guy was sent a video and they decided to show it, and it's pretty much a they edited it, but it is a naked dude trying out certain devices on himself.
Why would they do this?
Because it was funny. Tom Segura, the host, is laughing hysterically about it, and like one of them does make the comment like, what about our sponsors? The next day they got a call from like McDonald's, someone high up in the McDonald's thing is like, yeah, we knew that you guys were edgy in your comedy and edgy in your show, but we didn't realize that this is what you meant. Like, you're laughing hysterically at this dude, and McDonald's is not about that. And then cuts to, we would like our 2.8 or whatever the amount was, $1 million back. And so let that sink in. And then they end with the big dropper, and you're not allowed at any Southern California McDonald's.
He got banished from the lands, dog.
Yeah, which is interesting. Like, so now are they going to be putting pictures of Tom Segura and his wife or girlfriend on in every McDonald's? So, anyways, yeah. So, in a matter of a week, they had to give the money back. There was people who were like, they've hired and like talking about like, this is going to be like, I'm going to buy a house. This is going to be my job.
We made it, right?
Yeah, they did. They were able to get a sponsor. Isn't there like a steakhouse called Mortenson's down in LA? They got sponsored by Mortenson's, and it was. They said it was like a couple $1,000s, but they had to spend all that money that they got from that deal to repaint the office because McDonald's does not want to be associated with them. So the colors have to go.
You know, I'm happy you usurped one of our news segments because I'm gonna give some advice, you know, and we don't charge anything for this service, you know.
And you're gonna be like that ESPN dude.
I'm gonna be like Stephen A. Smith while I'm saying it. Jesus. I'm gonna say something that can be as macro or as micro as you prefer, and I'm gonna say real simply: don't be stupid. Take that as you will. Just don't be stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Yeah. Yeah,
it's crazy. So, okay. I don't care.
If they just lay off the
jokes. I'm a bad man.
LeVar Ball doesn't know how to get up a ball.
Okay. Winner. Okay.
We're talking about podcasts.
Okay, winner. Okay. Let's say tomorrow I post the episode. Freaking Monster or something like that just hits us up and is like, money. It's like, okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, things would change.
Things would change, right? And
because
that's what happens, right? And you know, I would never like just destroy or erode the integrity of what I think Masters of the Universe is. I would never truly go one way or the other to appease some some force that's shooting money into it. That being said, if I'm a sponsor with something as engulfing as McDonald's, you got to understand that certain stuff you got to cut out. You know what I mean? It's common sense.
Like, that would be the day where we start getting the comments of, oh, the podcast changed. And then we go, you think? We just got $1 million check
from Red Bull
for just talking.
Yeah. There's going to be adjustments, right? But as long as the spirit of the show remains the same, then everything is Gucci, as it were. But what kind of idiot are you to think McDonald's is going to be okay with you laughing your butt off at some crazy naked dude video, him trying out devices And you just post that
Yeah.
everywhere. Hey guys, we got this McDonald's money. We're living it up.
Right. And I mean, it's kind of bizarre to me. Some of their reactions were interesting with like they were upset about it and they were kind of laughing because comedians finding humor in this dark situation,
Right.
and it's like people have bet like this is going to happen, and I have a feeling that everyone who came on board are still on board. They're helping, like these are successful comedians who can like here's so I'm so sorry, like they're doing the Conan thing.
They're rebuilding,
like, giving
you know what I'm saying? That's fine.
Yeah. And it's not going to be Mortenson's forever. And I like the idea if like Wendy's or Burger King came in,
man. I mean,
and sponsored them now.
A tiger can't change his stripes, right? Like your brand of comedy is your brand of comedy, and I'm not saying to change who you are or change the nature of your brand. But what I'm saying is, if you knew that,
well, it's like, what would you like? What's that? It's like being that thing that was stung by a scorpion. Like, what did you expect? Or like let's hire Andy Kaufman into the thing.
It's like, happens. Why would you accept the money? I get it. It's a huge. You can't accept the money and not think about the long term of like, I'm going to have to adjust my entire comedic background to fit this new sponsor. You know, like, am I willing to do that?
You just have to. That's the thing. You don't have to change. They didn't have to change everything.
They have to do stupid stuff. Like, you have to go that extreme.
And yeah. But I think they know that it was stupid.
It's in retrospect because McDonald's banished them from every McDonald's on the earth now, and they don't want anything to do.
And I like how they look at it like this 10-minute or 20-minute bit cost them $1 million.
And it's just, I'm going to go back to my advice. Just don't be stupid. You know what I mean? Like, just don't. Not even if you want to, okay? Because stupidity just cost them a once-in-a-lifetime deal. You know what I mean? And if you felt like your comedy was being compromised, then you shouldn't have accepted the deal. Because you should know damn well McDonald's is not going to think that's funny. Right. If this was Spike or some other more edgy advertisement, then you probably could have got away with that. They probably would have laughed it off on their Twitter memes. You know what I'm saying? But McDonald's don't play that, dude. It's McDonald's. It might as well be Apple.
They don't play that game.
McDonald's don't play that. They hit you upside the head with a sock full of Anyway, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to tell that joke.
Let's go back to Stephen A. Smith's take on this. They should lay off the jokes and get back to the game of podcasting. Kwame Brown doesn't know a lick about the court game
game ball. This is how much we play sports here at the Nerdiverse. The court game ball. I'm going to tattoo that on my back. Speaking of
the court, that should be a shirt.
Yeah. That's a Trash Monk emote right there. Just want to talk about something really quick before we do the closing news articles. That Metroid Prime 4 is going to be restarted from the ground up by Retro Studios, which is the original company that made Metroid Prime 1. A lot of people are upset about it. I'm here to tell you, please don't. This is good news. I would rather them start this thing completely over and get it right than them put out crap and disappoint everyone. So when it comes to this kind of content, take your time. Like, no one's gonna lose their life if Metroid Prime 4 doesn't come out in this generation. Just take your time, make the game you want to make, start over as many times as you need to, because another jewel of advice is you only have one time to make a good first impression. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So stop freaking out, Nerdiverse fans. Let them fine-tune this machine, because when they do, you get stuff like Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'm just saying. Let them fix it. You have anything to comment on this, Winter? Let them fix it. You have any feelings towards this before we move on to the final bit of news?
No, I don't. Back to you, Mike.
Oh, nice. So I wanted to talk about this. Oh, nice. wanted to talk about this because your response to this before was probably one of my favorite moments on this show. And that was me explaining to you the
Oh, no.
subtle but brutal origins of Dragon Ball Z's own Brawly. You
Okay.
remember talking about this, Winter?
No, but sometimes I have PTSD from this show,
That's
so I
fine.
can't
So
remember.
do I. Join the
Yeah.
club. So it's kind of it's for the same game, Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Funny enough, is that once I explained the origins of Brawly, you audibly recoiled in horror from how stupid it was, and I
Yeah.
laughed
Could you give me a
uncontrollably.
quick refresher
Yes.
on the origin of the Brawly? Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick. The origins of Brawly is this. So there's a group of Goku is what they call a Saiyan. He's an alien race of fighters from a planet far, far away. They're super strong. They're the strongest. They're
Mhm.
so strong. Brawly's sole motivation for being a villain is that when Goku and Brawly were born, they were set next to each other like in a nursery. And when Goku was a baby, he would cry, cry, cry all night long. And Brawly hated that.
Okay.
So
I
Brawly
remember
hated it
this
so
now.
much that he went through life thinking about this moment from birth all the way to him being a grown man. When he finally met up with
Yes.
Goku and heard his voice, it triggered that memory and caused him to want him to fight him and kill him forever. That was Brawly's sole motivation as a character.
Yeah, I remember this now.
So,
Oh, God.
yeah, let it sink in. Let that tooth sink into your throat like a damn pure. So, the reason I bring this up is twofold. Is that they've recently revamped Brawly's origins in a film called Dragon Ball Z Super Brawly. Simply, it's all about Brawly. They're bringing back Brawly, and I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's good. I heard they do things to adjust this character's motivation so they're not so zero. And I hear that they do Brawly justice. So I haven't seen it yet, so I can't comment on it. But the news is that Dragon Ball Z Fighters, which was one of my top 5 games, even though I kind of didn't like the mechanics, but that's neither here nor there, is having a second season of new characters. One's going to be Jiren, who is the big bad from Dragon Ball Z Super. One's going to be Videl, who's Gohan's girlfriend, kind of Mr. Saiyaman's girlfriend / fighter. One's going to be, this is so nerdy, Gogeta Blue, who is the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan of the fused versions of Goku, Vegeta, that through the fusion dance make Gogeta. And last but not least, one is this updated version of Brawly. All new fighters coming somewhere down the line throughout the year being downloadable content. In Winter, my question to you is there a character that you can recall that has had a revision done to them that you find more interesting than the original?
Well, that's interesting because I think first that comes to mind is Freddy Krueger, where in his character, like in the original, his original idea was that he was a pedophile, right?
Yeah.
And then they went this whole realm of like, no, let's not make him a pedophile.
Right.
But then the most recent ones have gone, okay, he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
Again.
They wanted to.
And so, yeah. So that does come to mind as a good work. It's like a revamp of a sense.
Yeah.
Going back to the original, but for a completely altered change.
Right. Like night and day.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank here. Do you have one on the top of your head?
I was kind of trying to think of one too. In comic books, does this a lot where they kind of revamp a character to make it different or more edgy or less edgy. And I'm trying to, and it kind of doesn't count, but it makes me think of Kratos from God of War, like the difference between God of War 1, 2, and 3 Kratos and the Kratos we get in the updated PS4 game, where it's Kratos originally was honestly the worst protagonist in anything ever because he was this bloodthirsty rampaging psychopath that didn't have any redeeming quality to him now being this repentant father who doesn't want to see his son commit the sins that he committed. You know what I mean? And he still
Right.
has that same rage. He still has that same kind of wanton destruction, but it's repurposed so well that it's almost a different character. You know what I mean? I think that's a good retelling, a restructuring of a character to understand the fallacies of their origins and kind of reshape them to be something a bit more positive and a bit more, and not more than positive, be a bit more compelling. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what they were trying to do with Brawley here, even though I'm hearing that it's still a drag. It's not Macbeth, you know, it's not going to be some crazy remix of the character, but if they were able to add any kind of substance or meat to that character, then he's a billion times better than what he was before. You know what I mean? Which is a glorified Hulk without the Bruce Banner.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really drawing a blank on who would be a good
character.
I'll tell you this. I guess I'm excited for this horror Superman.
What's that called again? Like Risings.
If that fits.
Something. It looks very interesting. Where I don't even know how they didn't get sued. It's just Superman. It's literally a spaceship falls out of the sky in like a cornfield. The mom picks up the kid, and the kid is just evil as hell, and he's just Superman. He has laser vision and super strength and super speed and all that. I'm like, how is this not getting sued? I'm very fascinated to see what that movie's going to be. Oh man, I'm really curious. I'm really, really curious. Now that you mentioned that, that's a good retelling. I'll buy that for $1. One last really quick thing. They showed this weird Harley Quinn Birds of Prey teaser, and I hate it. Like, hate.
Oh,
it's a strong word.
I saw a little bit.
Hate's a strong word, and I don't like throwing it around, but I kind of hate it. It's like DC just can't. They just can't. You know, they have to always do something extra. They're always extra. You know what I mean? It's always like they just can't just do it. They have to, like, you know, they take the 3-point shot when they're supposed to be, you know, going for the free throw. And I get it. Sometimes that works, but it has to be like lightning in a bottle for that to work sometimes. Like, and it's like it's this weird kind of roller rink kind of vibe to it. And it's only 13 seconds. So I can't damn the movie based on this split second. But for what I saw,
right,
I'm just not feeling it. It doesn't feel
we would like to try.
We love to try. That's what we're all about. I just hate it. I just don't like any of it. It just seems so extra. It just seems it insists upon itself. I think that's the best way to go.
It insists upon itself.
It insists upon itself. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a gloomy Gus, but I'm just saying. I can't lie to you, the listeners of this podcast. I can't do it. Oh man, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to a. I just rewatched. I'm rewatching the teaser right now. Oof!
Right?
It's
nothing.
I mean, I like the look of it. I can't lie. I like the look of it, but is this really what DC needs to be doing?
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
all right, don't be shouting.
I'm sorry. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just excited. I'm not yelling at you. Shh. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. Okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. Not gonna hurt you. I'm just saying. Is this what they need to be doing right now? like, just make Birds of Prey. Just make Black Canary look like Black Canary. Dress her up like Black Canary. Make Harley Quinn look like Harley Quinn. Something that is recognizable to the fans. Nothing is recognizable to anyone in this little snippet. Looks like you can name that thing anything else. You can name it Roller Rink Brigade. You can name it the Lady Killers. You can name it anything, and you'll be like, okay, that looks good. You name it Birds of Prey and slap a DC logo on it, and you go, WTF? What is this? No, there's nothing DC about anything they showed, other than we know Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. That's the only thing that connects your brain to DC.
Yeah, Okay, I'm getting out of the DC tunnel right now.
Don't fall into the DC hole.
Yeah. So what I'm expecting for this week, I don't know. I'm working on this script for this next project for MOTN. Wink, 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 wink.
All the winks.
And yeah, and just going to my parents and relaxing.
That's what's up, man. Go visit your peoples, man. Bring in the groceries. Parents love when you do that.
No,
they love it when you bring in the groceries, dog. They get a kick out of it. Take out the trash while you're there. Your parents will love it.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pro tip: take out your parents, no matter how old you are, from 0 to 45. If you're listening to this podcast, next time you see your mother or father, take out the trash. They'll love it. That's a pro tip. It's better than candy. They'll love it.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing this week? Are you taking out people's trash?
No. I refused, but then that's because I hate trash cans. I have a phobia. They're so dirty. They're disturbingly disgusting. I'm up against the wall because I just shelled out money to play Resident Evil 2, and the video game gods decided to drop Kingdom Hearts 3 on us.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't have them. I can buy Kingdom Hearts 3, and I love me some Kingdom Hearts, but I'm just toying with the idea of picking it up. But I have so much to do in Resident Evil 2, so it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to be able to do both at the same time. So, kind of toying with that. I'm trying to get better. I'm just trying to, meditate and woosah and get in a good place for future content. I know content's been slow, guys. It's been a slow beginning of the year, but there are new reviews coming out. I have to work on it. There's exciting new things that we're revamping and things that are in the works that I know are going to blow rock your socks off. So just please be patient with us, patient with me. Things are coming down the pipe that I know you'll like. So just trying to lay all those snakes straight. It's really where my head's at right now, and orchestrate the rest of the year. Which is fun to say because we're just about to exit January. Not to date this episode, but that's where we are. That's where my head's at. So that's kind of what I'm excited for this week.
Secrets in store for the future.
Secrets for the podcast. Any passing thoughts before we close this bad boy out?
Yeah. Read more books. Okay. There you go.
Books. I mean, if you want to do Audible, that's not reading a book. That's cheating. Unless Audible wants to sponsor us, then listen to all the Audibles you want. Just do it. But read a book, even if it's a small book, like a baby book. Just read something. The art of reading makes you smarter. It's scientifically proven. And if you want us to read your comments, you can always leave a comment on any of our social media outlets. May it be Twitter at mnerdiverse, may it be on Facebook, or even Instagram. We post pictures there of silly things, of podcast art and stuff. And if you want to support us elsewhere, you can always leave a like. You can check out our Patreon and donate to make this podcast better. Or you can subscribe to our channels. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, because I'm going to be doing some experimentations with our YouTube channel to see if something will work. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm going to be testing it this week. But hopefully exciting things will be coming to our YouTube channel. So please stay posted for that. I've, of course, been your host, Mike G.
And I'm Richard. Catch me at Trashbug the Third. That's my handle.
And we will always never hesitate to ask you to take that one step beyond.